Casually explained, Wall Street Bets.
I have $100.
Not anymore, you don't. Poof.
On November 29th,
I used to watch videos years back about all the stupid, like Wall Street bets that people had made. And they would put like puts on Tesla for like 200 grand and burn it. It would be like they would do like a Robinhood glitch. They got a bunch of money given to them for like nothing. And it was like this kid that was like 19, puts like 50K on puts, loses it. And he's live streaming him like his reaction to it. And he just goes, it like makes an inaudible gurgle noise.
2011, Drake released the motto, which popularized the word YOLO, the once trademarked catchphrase of the now well-known subreddit Wall Street Bets. Little did Drake know he wasn't just
I didn't know Wall Street Bets is still that poppin'. I remember it was like huge in like 22.
popularizing a cringy millennialism and double wristing, truly two sides of the same coin. He was setting humanity down a slippery slope of degeneracy that would replace our idea of a retirement plan with an 11-leg Washington Wizards parlay, which to be fair in this day and age are both equally unlikely ever to materialize. Prior to COVID, Wall Street Bets was actually a pretty small community of mostly white-collar, early
Yeah, dude, look at that fucking spike during cut. That literally isn't, that's not even an uphill climb. That is a full spike. Holy shit. That's like a one-day change from like 1 mil to 10 mil.
middle-aged professionals, usually in finance or software, who would write up what was called a due diligence or DD report on a niche stock or commodity they thought was going to experience a massive price move in the next week or two due to an impending and exciting catalyst. Then they'd post the positions they'd taken to capitalize on the idea before following up later with their losses. For non-market people, you need to understand that when people talk about stocks, they're talking about how you can take your hypothetical savings, buy a piece of someone else's business, and then get the rewards from their work by clicking one button on the internet and then not doing anything. When I told people who don't know this, it's a pretty common reaction to think it sounds too good to be true and must be a scam, which is partially true, but it's also the bedrock of the entire global economy, so you better get with the times. If this is even remotely revelatory for anyone, you better forget it, because Wall Street and Wall Street Bets is not about figuring out how to maximize returns on your capital by investing in actually good businesses like Costco or Toyota. It's realizing that there are heavily traded financial derivatives for orange juice futures, and this is going to be a screwdriver summer, my girlies. During this era of the mid to late 2010s,
Yeah, it's like a get rich quick mentality is what you usually hear. I don't think like all of Wall Street Bets is just on like short term trying to get rich quick on puts or fucking, like insider knowledge. But they are definitely not playing the long game. At least from what I've seen in like most of the videos that like talk about the craziest wins and losses on Wall Street Bets.
Wall Street Bets along
There are guys, like most people make fun of Wall Street Bets because a large like portion of what gets popular is like these guys that literally burn their entire life savings on like one specific trade. But there are guys that have gotten like absurdly rich as well. Like there's guys that have, flipped 10K to 10 million.
with the rest of Reddit, gradually started to skew to a younger and larger audience as it became more of a social media app, resulting in a lot more college students who hadn't quite cut their
It's parlaying. I think like Wall Street Bets, the people that trade on there, it's more like gambling than actual investing. Does that make sense? Like if you're like day trading and you're doing puts and you're making calls on these, companies in such like short-term time frames, you're basically just gambling. In maybe a more educated way, like similar to like if you know a lot about sports and you're doing parlays, but you're still gambling, right? Like the odds are against you.
teeth in the derivative markets to join the scene. This culminated in the finale of the OG era of Wall Street Bets in 2019, when user controlled the narrative used a Robinhood exploit to get
This is the guy that I was talking about. Oh my God, bro. I remember watching these videos like 3 years ago. They were the most entertaining shit ever. Yeah, did a glitch to get 57K and just burns it. I hope he shows the video.
48K in margin on a $2,000 account, or as he described, leveraged for my personal risk tolerance. Then he bought $50,000 worth of Apple puts, held through earnings, then live streamed himself reacting to losing it all, uttering the now infamous
Today's return minus $43,000. I'd be crying. There's no way. Oh.
After asking Wall Street Bets if he's going to go to jail and what he should do, a user assuaged his concerns by saying, just delete the app. This, however, would quickly be forgotten, as literally at the same time, China was welding people into their apartment buildings for catching what was seemingly just a bad case of pangolin fever, which caused many people to say, oh, classic China, as they arrogantly enjoyed their Western freedoms and abundance of toilet paper. The second era of Wall Street Bets coincided with its massive surge in popularity during COVID, because everyone was forced inside indefinitely with thousands in stimulus checks and unemployment payments that they desperately needed to avoid using to pay down their student debt, as that was congressionally deferred and would obviously never be coming back. The COVID era was one of the best Wall Street Bets ever had, because most people getting involved with markets for the first time were just panicked that the entire global economy was going to collapse and we'd all die. Meaning it wasn't so much about making money or coming up with a dumb circle jerk DD, it was about Wall Street Bets becoming a front page subreddit where the best and brightest 20-year-olds could try to educate the masses. Then I could not understand anything they said and just make fun of them with a meme and get 10 times as many upvotes. It really made you feel that if we're all going to die, at least we'd die together. And it wasn't like you were losing money, it felt like we were losing money. Which everyone was, because actual Wall Street was siphoning as many extra stimulus checks as possible from the peasants to the wealthy, which at least brought back a sense of normalcy to the middle class. To me, the absolute peak of this era, other than the memes, was that because everyone in the community was so green, all the trends were just a random internet guy making up a nonsensical but easy to follow narrative, and then everyone would just
Yeah, bro, I just don't understand. Like, I'm not saying there aren't smart people on Wall Street Bets, because there are. Like, there's guys that know what they're fucking talking about. Same thing in the crypto space. But it's like, you can't just go on a massive forum of 10 million subs and then just see a guy with 1,000 upvotes on like some call that he made and go, I'm gonna tail that. Like, that kid could be like 19, fresh out of high school, no knowledge, right? And he's just throwing bets on what he thinks is gonna hit off of 4 articles he read at 2 a.m., 3 days ago.
Island to a trade. This included such classics as "We'll buy liquor stocks because everyone's at home drinking," which was only derailed because the author did not take into account that one of the biggest customers of the alcohol industry was restaurants and bars, which were in fact closed. There was also "We'll buy Activision."
Oh my god, did somebody actually make a post about that?
Because Call of Duty Warzone would massively beat revenue estimates because everyone's at home playing it, which was only derailed because Candy Crush, Activision's actual highest grossing game, was only played by Chinese moms at
Activision owns Candy Crush? No. Activision owns King Digital Entertainment and Candy Crush Saga. Yo, did you see that, off topic, Black Ops 7 sold, like, what, 30% lower? Black Ops sales numbers versus BO6. Their sales dropped 60%. No one plays BO7, bro. No one plays BO7. It's hot ass. Have any of you guys tried it out? I haven't even touched it. I didn't play the beta. Normally, every year, I at least try the beta and the base game. And BO6, I did grind for a little bit because there was some nostalgia from BO3. And I don't want to say it wasn't bad, right? I don't think BO6 was a bad game. But I think Call of Duty is just in a downhill spiral. I don't think Call of Duty it's getting to a point of being unsavable, where what are they going to drop next that is going to recapture the audience's, I guess, thrill for Call of Duty? I think in part, shooters, first-person shooters, are on a downhill comparable to extraction shooters. I think extraction shooters, hero shooters, and like team-based shooters like CS and VAL are up, right? And I think like fast-paced, COD-based respawn shooters are down, right? Like those games don't perform as well as they did. Siege is up. Siege is back up. Ubisoft did do a little turn with their update. But I think in general, Siege is nothing like COD also at all. But I just don't know what they're going to do. Because like COD, when they had a downturn previously, they just go, oh, we're going to, release another fucking Nuketown map and people, come in their pants. But now it's like, how many times are they going to release Nuketown for the fucking 18th time and people are going to fucking tweak out? Nobody gives a shit anymore.
Derailed because Candy Crush, Activision's actual highest grossing game, was only played by Chinese moms at airports and missed on revenue completely. Another iconic moment was the SPAC bubble, which is shell companies that are publicly listed that would acquire private companies in order to backdoor them into public markets for a huge fee without going through a lengthy and legally rigorous IPO. This brought us such stocks as Lordstown Motors, Hyliion, and ChargePoint.
Dude, down 99.4% in the past 5 years is actually absurd. Imagine being a guy that's just hodling this stock, just full on diamond hands. You invest at this first dip right here, and then you're like, oh, it's on the come up.
They're all now down
literally just flat lines.
99% from their peak. Then there's my personal pet peeve scam stock, Nikola Motors, a company that commissioned a few 3D renders of a hydrogen truck from Fiverr, then filmed themselves rolling another truck down a hill to make it look like it worked. Market cap? $30 billion. A company with a single 3D render was worth more than Ford Motors. I personally hated this company with an Air Canada level of passion because of the brazen intention of the CEO to just make shit up all the time, which is exemplified by the time he pointed at the tablet in the driver's seat and said, "This media console uses a custom operating system we designed that runs on an HTML supercomputer." If you don't know why that's so tilting, that's like me saying, yeah, we recreated DoorDash, but instead of delivering the food to your house, we just cook it for you directly in the app. My single favorite event in the COVID era was one of the many guys who in April of 2020 bought a bunch of futures contracts for West Texas Intermediate crude oil when everyone ran out of space to store it and prices hit negative $32 a barrel. Hours later, he sold every contract except one as the price rose to -4 for a nice profit. He went on WallStreetBets to brag that just his one remaining contract was worth over $26,000 and that trading for the contract expired, so he'd locked it in at that price. Another user then pointed out that an expired WTI futures contract isn't cash settled and that he didn't lock in a $26,000 profit. He locked in $26,000 worth of crude oil that would be physically delivered to him in Cushing, Oklahoma. At the time, this was the funniest misunderstanding I'd ever read and is up there with the guy who lost it all on profit. He locked in a WTI futures contract isn't cash settled and that he didn't lock in a $26,000 profit. He locked in $26,000 worth of crude oil that would be physically delivered to him in Cushing, Oklahoma.
No, wait, that's it. See, because I don't know how futures contracts work in the stock market at all. My single contract quickly became worth over $26,000. The best part, there's no liquidity now since the contract expires and I can't close this position. A futures contract legally requires you to take delivery of the oil. If you cannot, you'll be sued by the seller. Bro, what?
At the time, this was the funniest misunderstanding I'd ever read and is up there with the guy who lost it all on ornamental gourd.
I've lost everything, and I'm not sure how to continue. This summer, I invested $17,500, 6 months salary, and my entire life savings. Why? Into ornamental gourd futures, hoping to capitalize on this lucrative emerging industry. After watching a video about Vincent Kosuga and his monopoly on onions, I decided this has to be a joke. This has to be a joke. In his monopoly on onions, I decided I'd try to do something similar with another vegetable. I did some research and found out many agricultural forecasters expected this year's gourd yield would be far smaller than the past due to the deteriorating soil conditions in central Mexico and a warmer than average spring. It's gambling. At first, demand soared around Halloween and prices skyrocketed, but the gourd bubble burst on November 12th. Unfortunately, the coronavirus caused a massive drop in demand due to fewer families decorating their tables for Thanksgiving, and prices plummeted. Who decorates their Thanksgiving table with an actual gourd? I don't think I've ever actually decorated or seen an actual gourd in real life. Ever. And I'm 24 now. I had invested early enough that I thought I would still be fine, but then on the morning of December 2nd, a new email in my inbox caused my stomach to turn into a pretzel. The massive gourd shipment from Argentina scheduled for March had arrived. I was planning on selling off my futures right before this, in February, but this ruined everything. To top it off, the gourds in this shipment were absolutely gargantuan, some topping 4 pounds each, causing the price per pound to drop like an anchor into the range of 6 cents per pound. Bro, like, these are the most interesting people in the world, though. Like, I would love to have a conversation with this guy on, like, the fact that he actually put his life savings into gourd futures. And now he's just stuck with them.
Do yourself a favor and pause to read this one. I remember seeing this for the first time, actually laughing my ass off and thinking, this is literally the funniest satire I have ever read. And then I looked at the guy's post history and was like, there's no fucking way. There's actually
Tifu by importing peas to Uruguay.
No fucking way. Frankly, homie must be doing fine now because he might be the only person I'm certain could not be replaced by AI. In 2021, as COVID was nearing an end, we began the final chapter of WallStreetBets that led us into the modern day, which was the GameStop short squeeze. As of right now, the most upvoted post in the entire history of Reddit is about GameStop, which gives you a sense.
Yo, and you know what's crazy is there's still like 2 or 3 people that are on this earth that genuinely think AMC and GameStop are on the come up again at some point. Just waiting for that one guy that cashed out like billions of dollars from fucking basically conning everybody into thinking that, GameStop and AMC were the future. What is that guy's name? Every time he comes back, if he like hints at GameStop on the come up, the stock physically rises like 20%. Like, he alone actually controls the market. Yeah, bro, I got my 10K shares bought at $60. What is GameStop at right now? 24. GameStop peaked in 2021 at around 60 bucks and then went down till April 12th at $10 and then instantly spiked to 28. So it tripled in value and then went down again.
Sense of scale of this whole operation. In brief, user Roaring Kitty posted a good
This guy, this is the dude that actually fucking runs GameStop. Not runs GameStop, but he just causes the fucking stocks to rise.
old-fashioned DD on how GameStop might appear to be a failing brick-and-mortar retailer being usurped by online digital video game sales, that because this was such a consensus Wall Street view, the amount of people who were borrowing stock to sell it short was immense, and his idea was it was a classic setup for a short squeeze, which means if the price were to go up a lot in a short period of time, all the people shorting would be forced to buy more stock to close their losing position, resulting in a Volkswagen-style infinite money glitch for buyers. Actual finance people were quick to point out the drastic differences between these circumstances and how the DD didn't really make that much sense, but this is Reddit, and Michael Burry was in on the short squeeze thesis, so as everyone's hero George Soros said, "Show me a bubble and I'm buying." What a little cutie. I don't want to get too deep on the lore because to this day almost every white-collar guy I've met in real life over 30 has a defense mechanism for the money they lost on this trade. But in short, what was originally a novel trade idea with a moderate return potential turned into a global meme where every 20 to 55-year-old male on planet Earth bought GameStop stock or options and the price went absolutely vertical. Roaring Kitty started by posting his positions worth $50,000 and peaking at $48 million. If you're wondering and peaking went absolutely vertical. Roaring Kitty started by posting his positions worth $50,000 and peaking at
Bro, price paid on GME, $754,000, values $48 million.
$48 million. If you're wondering,
wow, that's like unheard of returns. Like, he just filtered money out of everybody.
Why literally everything is a loot box nowadays is because ever since the boys have been chasing this moment. The final conclusion was when GameStop squeezed to over a $30 billion market cap and every broker's website was fighting for its life to handle all the traffic because they weren't using a supercomputer running on HTML. After reaching nearly $500 split adjusted, the stock then suddenly collapsed limit down after limit down to nearly $100 because Robinhood literally turned off the buy button for all their users. This started a grand conspiracy that still persists to this day, that the powers that be on Wall Street were getting caught with their pants down by retail vigilantes, but used their connections to the deep state to illegally make Robinhood manipulate the market to their own interests. If you ask someone what evidence they have for
that's
this,
fucking crazy. At some even if they hadn't limited the individual retail buyers, ability, or not retail, the individual buyers' capability to buy the stock, it would have bubbled more and then still just crashed.
it usually boils down
Because at some point people would sell to make the money.
to, well, it really felt like it. And while I feel bad for people when they lose their money to an unforeseen risk, especially me, you have to check yourself to make sure you don't fall victim to the market phenomenon called trader on the way up, community member on the way down. After this peak moment of the little guy finally having a brief experience of actually occupying Wall Street and seeing it slip through their fingers, WallStreetBets has settled in as a comfortable and pretty big finance news and meme subreddit that I enjoy now but think, well, these kids don't know what it was really all about. And it feels to me like looking at photos of myself when I was 20 and remembering the good old days. Then someone says, Jamie, that was 10 years ago and your lifestyle is exactly the same now. And I'm like, they don't know about lumber liquidators. In my opinion, the most relevant societal impact of WallStreetBets has been its influence on the gamblification of modern culture. Well, I'd argue, and I think most people intuit, that this whole undercurrent is caused by the feeling of young guys and gals being like, well, I'm never buying a house or building to...
Well, I feel like the reason that people probably have turned it into a meme page as well is because I think a large majority of the people in that get-rich-quick mindset through investments have pivoted away from the stock market and went towards crypto. Because around the same time that WallStreetBets and GME were on the up and AMC was on the up, at the same time Dogecoin spiked, Bitcoin was on the rise, NFTs were hype as fuck, the crypto space seemed unlimited, and everybody was just fucking milking money. Then it was meme coins for a while. Are there still like heavily rug pulled meme coins? Because I feel like crypto right now in general is just horrible. Because it's down like Bitcoin's down like 36%, and it's supposed to be a hedge against financial crises. It's supposed to be its own, asset that isn't based around a central government. It's supposed to be a decentralized token. So it's like, it's so confusing that Bitcoin is marketed as this like hedge against the economy crash. And then when the economy's crashing, Bitcoin also crashes. It's like, it's actually doing the opposite of what it's supposed to. Like Bitcoin in the last 6 months is down 40%. One Bitcoin in October was worth $123,000. Now it's worth $65,000. Basically half.
towards an achievable future, but if I YOLO my extra savings into a lottery ticket, I might win and get to escape. Which is really sad because this has contributed to both left and right-wing political radicalization, reinforces corporate interest in gambling features for everything, and encourages cultural attitudes that reward extremism as solutions. And the worst part, literally none of them are available in Canada. Now, if you're someone who uses Robinhood, you might be thinking, wait, they sell my order flow to Wall Street so they can have a leg up on retail traders? Well, that's okay, I guess, because sometimes they give me confetti, but if anyone were doing that with my phone number, email, and personal data, that would not be okay. Well, I've got some bad news, because I'm personally buying all your personal information from data brokers right now, so I can get a free coffee every day of the year from Starbucks. Should have been using today's sponsor, Incogni. Unlike Robinhood, where you look at the $50,000
Oh, there's a fucking ad at the end? Oh my god.
telephone books anymore, because we'd like to give Incogni
That was a good video, though. I did enjoy that. Don't move an inch, ladies and gentlemen. You'll scare him off for the next year. Yeah, because he posts once a year. Someone is so wholesome, nothing better happens on it, probably.